she was saying, please go and send him for rehab, even go to DRC also, she doesn't mind. But at that time, the law didn't allow for that. At the same time, the penalties for the sellers was too low, right? I mean, the amount of profits you make versus a few $1,000 fine, of course, people are going to do it for economic reasons. So that's when I realized, you need the government to come in and take action.
Don't start and don't do vapes. As a country, we are taking a very harsh stance for good reasons, and we hope that for the sake of your friends, your family, don't go down this slippery slope.
Rise and shine, brothers and sisters! Today we are talking about a topic that really needs to be discussed further: vaping and the dangers of substances like Kpods. We are honoured to have members of Parliament with us who have been speaking up strongly on this issue in Parliament and championing tougher measures to protect Singaporeans, especially our youths. So we are really glad to hear from them today. So sirs, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Weng. I'm the MP for Yio Chu Kang SMC. Very happy to be here and discussing this very important topic. I've raised several parliamentary questions about this issue over the many years. So I'm very glad that government is taking action, enhancing enforcement and making sure that our youth are safe from the harms of Kpods.
Hi, I'm Vikram, MP for Sembawang. I've been serving for many years and I chair the Committee for Home Affairs and Law. I had my first encounter with a resident whose son was taking Kpod a bit earlier this year. And as soon as I saw the case, I realized there was probably some gaps in the law, and so I suggested classifying etomidate as a drug. And happily, the government followed a few weeks after that.
Hello everyone, so recently we just launched our YouTube member subscription. So this is a way to get closer to us and us to get closer to you. Okay, we got 4 different levels of tier, okay? And these are named after watch, because we also like to watch you watch us.
Yeah. Yes, but it's watch, it's not watch. Okay.
Yes, okay. So the starting of the first tier is Casio, right? Casio, you got access to like loyalty badges, we got emoji, okay, priority reply to comments.
And for the mid tier, we have Tudor. Wow, one of my favorite watch. Okay, it's for members only live chat and discounted merchandise, and also member shout out.
Wow.
Oh, and then we have the next tier we have Rolex, okay? Members only videos and members only shots.
And this one is for the ballers, the top tier.
Hey.
Hey! Patek Philippe!
That's right, hey. Hey, not you.
So
Okay.
what do we have for the Patek, brother?
We got birthday greeting, we got exclusive invite to member only events. We are going to play game with you.
Okay.
We got access to members only live stream.
Members
And
only live stream.
everything from the above also.
Yes, correct. So guys, if you want to support us and prefer to watch more of us, you can subscribe to our YouTube membership.
Okay, so we want to cater the best to you because you all deserve the best. Let's go!
Nice. So as MPs, right, you are meeting residents all the time. What's your understanding of vapes and Kpods, and what concerns are you hearing directly from the people?
In fact, yesterday I was just doing my house visit, so I saw a family, and then the mother was explaining to me that her kids got caught with Kpod and then have a very heavy fine, and asking me how best I can help with the situation. So I think a lot of it is pure pressure on the ground. When kids, they see their friends doing it, they think it's very cool. They think it's something that they need to do together, and therefore it's very. I think it's pervasive in schools, and we need to make sure that the youth, the students, get the right message to make sure that it's not something that's trivial, but something that's quite dangerous, because you really don't know what's inside when you take the Kpod. So I think it's important that we make sure that the schools, the teachers, the principals all know the dangers of this device.
So we're seeing on social media accidents, violent behavior, depression, even people collapsing, all linked to these substances. From your perspective as an MP, how serious is this problem becoming in our community?
Yeah, so actually that's when I started taking an interest, right? Because when the resident who came to see me, what she told me was really the conundrum she faced. Her son was taking Kpod, and while her son was taking it, she wanted him to stop, but he refused to, right? And to me, this was a classic drug addiction issue, right? Because you're already addicted to it. So he was apparently taking the Kpod morning, evening, and all that. His studies were going down the drain, unable to go to school, unable to function. She called HSA a few times. HSA confiscated the vapes, issued her a fine. But basically, in the end, she paid the fine. Son got a new vape, carried on, right? So to me, it was a classic drug addiction thing, and you needed someone to come in, and she was saying, please go and send him for rehab, even go to DRC also, she doesn't mind. But at that time, the law didn't allow for that. So that's when I realized, you need the government to come in and take action. One, to help the abusers, and sometimes it takes a firm hand to do that. And then the second is also to crack down on the people selling. So to me, Kpod is a classic drug issue.
Yeah, so that time, actually many parents, they actually contacted me on social media. This is their real struggle during that time, because if my kids is taking Kpod, right? Then I report police. Police come and catch them. They send the Kpod to HSA. HSA fine them, end up the parent need to pay. Then the kids come back. The kids buy again. Then this time, then cannot go to prison. Then this time, as a parent, right, should I report them or not? Because I report, then the fine come again, I have to pay. Then they cannot go to prison.
And I'm losing money, but my kid is
He's
still
still at home, still taking. So
Then the parent can see MP for appeal.
Then MP have to say the law must change. That's why MP say law must change.
But now is it classified as class?
So it's a Class C drug,
It's a Class C
and
drug
that
now.
one can be done by Gazette, so it doesn't need to go through Parliament. That's why it was done before Parliament.
Gazette?
Gazette is like this report the government publishes of all the decisions it makes. So whatever drugs it wants to include in the schedule of the Misuse of Drugs Act, that one can be done by Gazette. So the Misuse of Drugs Act is already there, so the government can just put in the Gazette, okay, this substance is now Class C.
A question for me, it's a curious question. So when you all say the youths and the kids that the parents are sharing with you about, right? Generally, how old are they?
The kids,
Yeah,
usually,
Teenage,
teenage.
secondary school.
secondary or tertiary lah.
So many people have asked, why are cigarettes still allowed but vapes are banned? Do you hear this sentiment from residents, and how do you usually explain it to them?
I think vapes are more dangerous because the vape itself is just a delivery device. You don't really know what is going inside it, where cigarettes is, is tobacco and nicotine. So in the device itself, you can have all kinds of chemicals. Some of it may be poison, some may be drugs, like ketamine, like etomidate, etc. So I think it's a far deadlier device than cigarettes. Yeah.
Why do you think vaping is catching on so quickly among youths in Singapore?
I think it just follows a global trend, right? Because in many other countries, it is not illegal. And I remember, not too long ago, I met a student studying overseas. He came back, so I asked him, are vapes very common there? Is it a problem? And his answer was very interesting. He said, it's very common, but I'm not sure it's a problem. So, that attitude is still there, that vapes are less dangerous than cigarettes, it's cool and all that. And I think if you look at the science, the tobacco in vapes may not be more dangerous than cigarettes, but the real mischief is that other substances can go in.
Pull in.
Whereas cigarette, mostly tobacco, no one is going to do anything like it's already been here for so long. If we are passing a law saying whether we allow cigarettes, maybe the answer will be no today. But of course, because it's had more than 100 years of history, it's there.
It's legacy.
Vapes is something new lah. So something new, we don't want to allow more new things to come in that will cause us problems. But other countries have allowed it, so that's maybe why lah.
And even for countries that was allowing it, is banning it already. Right? You say, like Vietnam.
Vietnam also they ban vapes also.
Malaysia also starting to ban vape, I think.
Is it Malaysia also?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. So we know government has started taking a tougher stance now. From your role in Parliament, what do you think it took this long, and what kind of ground feedback helped push for stronger measures?
This has been an ongoing issue, and there always has to be a balance between how much effort we put into enforcement and how much we allow individuals to do what they want. So it's always a balance, and I'm just glad that government is taking a very hard stance now. It's clearly a danger. We have seen many cases, zombie-like behavior, car crashes, then you go and inspect them, then you realize that a lot of it is because of Kpods, the substance that they intake and all that. So very, very glad that we are pushing for a lot more action now. I think circling back to what we said earlier, you know, as the chair of the Defence and Foreign Affairs GPC, I think a lot of it is also due to influence outside Singapore, you know, what other countries do, what is their laws there and all that. So I think there needs to be perhaps greater effort to engage our region to make sure that we have a consistent stance. We are doing a lot here. I think it's good in terms of what the government is doing in terms of enforcement, but I mean, in the larger region, can we have much better coordinated efforts to tackle the issue? Because Singapore very open. So people go overseas, they see the behavior there, they think it's legal, it's also legal here, and then they do it.
They think that it's okay.
Yeah, they think it's
like,
okay.
hey, this country can smoke weed, why we cannot? Things like that.
We only is plant right? Then they say it's just plant only. It's nature, right? Then the habit all comes in.
Yeah.
Hey, take this one. Hey, try this one Wow, I try weed already. Why not I try something harder?
You let weed legalize, then next time they will
Jialat
ask for cocaine already.
It's a slippery slope.
No, and coming from y'all, it's quite interesting because when I was a student more than 20 years ago in England, I used to do a lot of debating. And then if you ran a motion saying legalize cannabis, everyone will boo you, not because they disagree with it, but because they think there's no argument against it. So that is why the West was, so liberal about this, right? Many countries started legalizing cannabis, it's become a business. But now you're seeing the problems of that. I think Thailand has now gone the other way. And I suspect other countries may also start to reconsider. So we are one of the few that have, I think, kept the hard line
Thailand
rightly.
also taking down the
I heard.
marijuana already.
Yes, they're taking down.
Yeah.
They're
They're reversing.
They're
I
reversing.
think because too many crime rate, divorce and things like
Because
that.
sometimes also marijuana they can be laced with other drugs, and that's how people,
That's true.
you know,
That's true.
they don't know. this.
Toothpaste also have the time I went to Thailand.
Paste,
Correct.
food, so you don't know what you're getting.
Paste also they must put the marijuana inside. I know it's legalized, but don't need to go until that extent. I think the baby pampers next time also.
Then the breath all smell like don't know what like that.
Yeah.
So previously there seemed to be a confusion, right? Okay, when people are taking Kpods, right? Then they don't know whether CMB, HS or HSA or SPF should be handling this. So from your side as an MP, how do you see these agencies working together and what challenges do you think they face?
I think different agencies enforce based on the legislation under them. So, HSA has their own legislation, CMB got their own legislation, NEA got their own legislation. If I recall correctly, one of my parliamentary questions is really, can the government work together to do cross-enforcement? That means that if for instance, I HSA, right, I can get help from NEA, police, CMB to help me to enforce against this particular issue. So I think together as one government, there could be greater effect, more results on the ground, and to make sure that agencies help each other to tackle the problem.
Can you help our viewers understand, right, what role do the Government Parliamentary Committee, short form GPCs, right, play in shaping or pushing forward measures like this?
So typically when we are in a GPC, then we specialize in that area. So as an MP, you can talk about anything, but we generally divide and conquer because there are so many ministries, cannot be one MP is expert everywhere. So when you're a GPC, you are the domain expert in that area. So, previously I'm still in Defence and Foreign Affairs, so I had deep dive into that for the time I was there, and Home Affairs also I've been there, so I'm familiar. But now as chairman, it's my responsibility to front it. So that's really what we do.
For me, it's more from the health perspective, because I'm in the GPC for health, so I'm the vice chair for health, and HSA is under the Ministry of Health. So it's an important issue. It affects many of our youth. It affects parents as well as caregivers. So I think it's important enough that we speak up on the issue to make sure that there's public awareness and to push government to do more on these issues.
So I know that as an MP is really very busy, right? Because of the neighborhood, everything, that the resident got problem, they can't find you. But after this Kpod and vape thing arise, right? Is it like the task and the job, is it way more overwhelming for you also?
For me, I think after I spoke up about it, what happened was people from other areas came to see me, but not huge numbers. And then some sent me messages and all that saying, actually I got the same issue. But I won't say workload went up because of this. This is certainly one of the problems of, amongst the large number we have on our plate to solve.
So you have both spoken up in Parliament calling for tougher measures. Do you feel the latest whole of government efforts announced recently are enough to tackle the problem?
I think I'm very glad that government is taking a very tough stance. In fact, Prime Minister mentioned it in his National Day rally. That shows how important it is. And very glad to see a lot of agencies working together to solve the issue. Certainly we can do more. I think we will certainly need to tighten a lot more in terms of enforcement. And also, I earlier mentioned, a lot of it comes from overseas. How do we collaborate better with our foreign counterparts to make sure that our borders are tighter, people don't smuggle all these things in, which cause a lot of these issues. So these are perhaps some of the things that we may want to really do to really step up a bit more. Yeah.
Hon Wen, we have previously called for sharper enforcement at the borders and parcel hubs, legal updates to classify combo vape drug devices. Okay, can you share why these specific measures are so important?
Okay, I think if it's something that is very serious, I feel that enforcement alone is necessary but insufficient. It needs to be a holistic treatment of the issue. So you need to tighten enforcement. You need to make sure on the ground public education is there and it's comprehensive. It's not like play, people just talk about it and forget about it, but to push forward the message that it's a serious issue. And also to make reporting and all that as easy as possible. So I think it needs a very, very holistic treatment of the problem, and that we need to ensure that every single part is followed through.
I think the most important thing is other than all this awareness, is also what to do when one is addicted to this thing already. Let them know which organization is there to assist their kids or even themselves, or you can also seek help at a halfway house, which I always mention. You don't have to be stuck there, you don't have to struggle, because when we have a situation, we just go and solve it. You can actually help yourself by going to an organization like even Sana, or also like going to halfway houses.
I think as previously mentioned also, the ones reporting shouldn't be penalized.
Yes.
Okay, so Vikram, you have been vocal about changing the laws to classify etomidate as a drug. How do you feel this is critical and what difference will it make?
Well, I think this has already happened, but the reason I felt it's critical is because of that, the case I mentioned earlier, and then looking at all the reports, it was quite clear that the people taking etomidate were effectively drug addicts. Drug addicts means they can no longer think clearly. So even though there's available help, they won't go themselves, right? Because they're hooked. And then they will be aggressive towards people trying to help them. So of course we were told you can go to family service center, go to social workers, but I mean, they will not go, right? The horse won't go to the water. So that's when, I think the laws needed to be changed because mandatory treatment was necessary. At the same time, the penalties for the sellers was too low, right? I mean, the amount of profits you make versus a few $1,000 fine, of course, people are going to do it for economic reasons. So that's why I felt the law needed to be changed so that you can take tough action against the sellers and, I guess, bring the horse to water, even against its will, right? Because that's the only way to help.
Recently, we saw the news just 2 days only. I think that the first person that got charged for trafficking already, under drug trafficking for selling Kpods already. First just got charged. Just got charged.
I think this first one might be quite.
We'll set the standard.
We'll set the standard.
People see it might be better be scared already
Yes.
It depends if the standard is low or high actually. Right?
Yeah.
But it's drug trafficking, so
Drug trafficking will be years in jail. There'll be
serious
caning.
one,
Yeah.
So we have noticed more raids at night spots and tighter checks at customs. As MPs, right, what kind of feedback do you get from the residents? Are people supportive of this, or do you feel the enforcement currently is too harsh?
I just want to pause here. On my birthday, I went to a club, right? Monkey. Wow, one whole group of CMB come.
For me, I don't know because I don't go to a night spot.
That's a lie, lah. That's a lie. But I mean, we can see from this, at least the government is taking action already, right? So I think there's way lesser people bring this type of etomidate or Kpods to clubs, which I feel is a good.
I don't think residents think the enforcement is too harsh. I think generally people are glad that we are taking a harsher stance on this issue, because I think they clearly know that there's great harm, and it affects the community, affects society. I think generally people are okay. I mean, people who are perhaps not supporters, I think going back to your earlier point, parents with kids who get caught and kena fine, obviously they're not happy, and some of them do come and seek support.
I think it's good that it is more harsher now, because sometimes I see online, we're looking at really young kids at MRT.
There's a lot of MRT cases.
Then they cannot walk. I feel like quite sad for them. Then they are young, then people take video. Then it will be online, then people will laugh at them. But if we don't, if we don't be harsh, then
then our next generation will suffer. So there's no choice on it.
But in some ways, I mean, that may also put some stigma to it, so it's no longer cool to be smoking,
Shaking.
Okay, if someone is caught with a vape, right, what happens next? From your perspective, do residents understand the consequences clearly enough?
Well, I mean, I think we will know what happened next is, the penalties in school are clear, first time, second time, third time, penalties outside are clear. I am sure most residents will not know the detail of, which one is how many strokes and all that. But I think they all know it's tough, so better not be caught. I think that's the most important message.
Okay. So we heard that substances like etomidate can't be traced easily. Do you think more needs to be done on education and awareness so people know what they are getting into?
More education is always good. Etomidate is a sedative. It's used in the hospitals. It's classified as a poison, and now it's classified as a drug. And because of the seriousness and the side effects of inhaling the substance itself is very, very serious. We need to make sure that people understand the dangers. Because the other thing about vapes is that you look at the thing like highlighter like that. It doesn't look very dangerous, not like weapon.
Then it can be sweet smelling.
Correct. And then very sweet smelling, very nice, got different flavor, all that. So the kids like, wow, it's not bad, and then I go and try. Given the fact that it's now classified as a drug, it is important to really make sure that the awareness, the public campaigns, the public education needs to be more serious about the issue.
I think also people were saying like, not easily traceable, urine cannot test or this and that. Is it safe to say now it can be tested in the urine, or I don't know, put a stick in the mouth, then test, then will come out?
Like what are the things currently being done to test the etomidate usage?
Under the Misuse of Drugs Act, if you're caught with possessing a certain quantity of etomidate, then all the presumptions will kick in. So they don't have to do the blood test. And then if it's beyond a certain quantity, it'll be trafficking. Below that, it'll be treated as you using, and then you have to rebut that presumption. And it's not difficult to test etomidate inside the vape. So if you have a vape or you have it anywhere in your possession, you'll be caught.
So there is no need to test. You know why?
No,
Because you possession, then you don't say you smoke, then you are trafficking. This one I smoke. You can't say you smoke, so there is no need for test anymore.
Unless you say you have like 10 over vape, you want to say you consume also.
I consume. I'm a heavy smoker. So if someone is already addicted, what option should they have to seek help without being afraid of punishment? What do you hear from families struggling with this?
For those addicted, there are some hotlines, addiction hotlines, IMH, to seek help from trained personnel who is able to advise them what to do, and to ensure that even the family is aware and that they can seek the appropriate treatment. And we hope that the public will make use of these channels of communication to just seek the necessary assistance and help.
Okay, so Moses will go and find all these details and then put it under our options for you all. Okay, so you all can just click below and check the info. Okay, so beyond enforcement and laws, how can the communities, including parents, schools, and peers, play a role in steering youths away from vaping?
I think it's just the messaging, and once it has that message and it's clear to everyone, I think the perception will change. Because for a long time, I think when we initially did it, we were one of the few countries to ban vapes and said, Singapore government being too strict, like chewing gum like that, So people didn't think it was harmful to them, right? But now I think with the campaign, the publicity, the education, they will know the difference. Like, I mean, when I was in school in the 80s, there were campaigns against glue sniffing. Now you don't hear that so much anymore because I think people all know, okay, glue is dangerous, we don't do it. So I think, I hope the same will happen with vapes.
Some sidetrack. You know, back then, even as a drug addict, right, glue sniffing is considered a no standard one. Yeah, really. When we are in DRC, the Drug Rehabilitation Center, right, the tag is different. So we are drug addict, Then there are like people saying, hey, you see the one is a glue sniffing one. Like, look down on glue sniffing one. You are drug addict, you still want to look down on people, no? that is quite funny, yeah. Okay, sir. So if the situation, let's say, example, really get worse, despite stricter measurements, right? So what more do you think the parliament and the community can do together? Have you all went through this thought? If let's say now you all already implement all this, then the high, is still very high rate. And what is there any other thing that you all will push in for this thing?
In terms of the laws, we will need to tighten it to make the penalties much harsher for those who are abusing vapes or even trafficking. So I think that in itself is, I would say, is a strong deterrent to make sure that we arrest the issue if it gets worse. But of course, again, it needs to be holistic. We will need to press down on public awareness as well, greater public campaigns, make sure that we go into schools, make sure that we reach the parents, we reach caregivers, and that the dangers and all the side effects are amplified in terms of public awareness.
Having said that, I mean, from what I know, I think looking at the reports, it is already having an effect. So I think that before the laws were changed, they were saying that 1 in 3 vapes that intomidate. Now I think it's back down to 1 in 10. And I think stricter enforcement is probably the way forward. I mean, I think the laws now are clear, so you have to enforce basically.
But I really did hear some things outside, like, hey, this thing cannot do already.
That's good. That's
Really,
good.
really,
The message is clear.
I mean, I don't need to hide I came from those kind of background. I still have friends that are like very naughty, things like that. Then I overheard conversation outside, even when like we go to like sometime we go chill and drink. Hey, this thing cannot do already. You know how it's really very serious.
You do already jialat lah, bro.
Can you help the viewers and us understand, right? How do you determine what is considered a vape? Because now online, right, I'm seeing like those tubes, right? In here is like more, it's like those herbal thing to improve mental focus, kind of nonsense.
Vape is a delivery device as far as I know. If you're using that to take herbal things, you'll still be considered a vape. But of course, you won't be hit under misuse of drugs, right? Because that is based on the substance, the intomidate. But you'll still be, the penalty for the vapes will kick in, which is also harsher.
So as long as you have an instrument that you are inhaling, this is a vape.
That's right.
No
So it's the
matter
same
what
thing
it
with the misuse of drugs act. If you have the drug itself, that's one penalty. If you have paraphernalia connected with drugs, that's a different penalty.
The instrument.
The instrument. So vapes are now, I guess, to draw an analogy, an instrument related to drugs. It's not the drug itself.
Instrument also kena. So at the end of the day, what do you hope will change, not just in laws or enforcement, but in how Singaporeans see vaping and drug use?
I think most important is really how Singaporeans internalize some of these issues. You know, the mindset, the attitude towards vaping, towards drug use. We take a very harsh stance on vaping as well as on drugs. I think for good reasons, to keep our society safe, and that we need Singaporeans to support the positions that we take. And I think with the right mindset, with the right attitude, we can continue with Singapore as it is today. That's clean, that make sure that we continue to look out for one another, and that vaping and drugs have no place here.
So how about you?
No, I agree. And also I think for those who have unfortunately fallen into it, I think people like yourself and Lukey are all good examples also on how to come out. And I think the whole messaging is important as well. So one is, as a society, don't do it. Very tough rules, no nonsense. Those who, get into trouble, whatever, then we try and guide them out also and keep away from reoffending.
Yeah. Okay, so before we close this interview, is there anything you want to share to the audience?
Don't start and don't do vapes at this point in time. and it will be a slippery slope. And that we, as a country, we are taking a very harsh stance for good reasons, and we hope that for the sake of your friends, your family, don't go down this slippery slope and get yourself addicted to it, because as what Vikram has mentioned, it's really like drug consumption. Yeah.
And I guess for friends and family, I mean, if your friends can't help themselves, then please help them and let the authorities know.
Hey sir, so before we close, we always ask our guests this question. What makes you happy?
I think maybe related to this topic, what makes me happy is when I go in my constituency, people come up to me and say, thank you for speaking up for me. Thank you for speaking up on these important issues that affect the lives of residents in the community. And thank you for being a voice for the people.
So how about you?
No, yeah, I mean, I enjoy solving problems. So a difficult problem, if you found a solution, that gives me a lot of happiness.
I think I like to be the problem. Okay, guys, thank you so much, sir, for coming down despite your busy schedule. We really appreciate. And guys, please, let's really appreciate our MP because they don't have to come now and do this. But we really hope that this interview can help parents or even anybody that is going through an addiction, especially towards Kpods or vapes. I hope that you all can receive some advice and help through this interview. So once again, thank you, sir, for coming to Rise and Shine.
Thank you.
Remember to like, share, subscribe, and on your notification. Okay? Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.